Hello guys, I am Flash Isaac, and a few minutes ago I released a video on change of subject formula. I explained the meaning of subjects, I explained subject formula, I explained equation, and I explained expressions. So I did a whole lot of background work, and I also solved all these questions under change of subject formula. So I will share a link to that video. You need to check it out for a good start. So now I'll be taking you through more questions in change of subject formula. So take a look at these questions as we solve them together. We are changing the subject of formula. So let's attempt these questions. Looking at question 1. Question 1 says y is equals 2s squared. So we are asked to make s subject formula. So this is y, this is 2, and this is s squared. So the first thing we do is this. What is a distraction? What is something we don't need? We don't need 2, and we don't need this square. We need just s. So in that case, let's start from somewhere. How do we remove this 2? And how do we remove this square? First of all, let's remove 2. To remove 2, and since what is joining this 2 is multiplication, 2 times s squared, it means you can't just take this 2 and bring here. No, we have to divide both sides by 2. So that is the operation that would work here. So therefore, here over 2, here over 2. This will cancel here. That means we now have y over 2 is equals s squared. And for theory exams, you don't need to divide just like that. If it were theory, after this you now say, okay, first divide both sides by 2. You write it out, then you divide by 2. You show your workings for theory exams. But for objective exams, you don't have time. So you know what to do. Just do what you need to do and get your answer. That's it. So here we have this. Now, we don't want s square, we want s. How do we remove square? To remove square, use square roots. Square roots are used to remove square. What does it mean? To remove this square, we look for the square roots. So this implies that to remove square, we look for square root. This is square root. But we can't just do this for only this. In mathematics, to make equation balance, what happens to this side should happen to the other side. So therefore, we have to look for the square root of y over 2. Why are we doing this? We are doing this because square root is the same thing as raised to the power of 1 over 2. This implies that this is the same thing as y over 2 is equals s squared raised to the power of 1 over 2. That's what square root is. So 2 times 1 over 2 is 2 times 1 is 2. Then 2 divided by this 2 will give you 1. So it will cancel. So that's why we use square root to remove square from a variable. So if this goes, that means y over 2 is equals s. So s is equals square root of y over 2. Or you can do it like this, y over 2 raised to the power of 1 over 2. Anyone that is convenient to you. So we made s subject formula. That's the answer. Question 2, we are asked to make h subject formula. This is it. A is equals 2 pi arrow plus h. So we need h as subject formula. So the distraction here is already 2 pi arrow. So that means a over 2 pi arrow is equals arrow plus h. Okay, is equals 2 pi arrow plus h over 2 pi arrow. So we are dividing both sides by 2 pi arrow because we don't need it. We clear distractions till we get to what we actually want. H is what we want. So we start bringing every other stuff to the other side, doing every possible thing to make sure every other stuff we don't need come to this side, but without any cheating, the right way, following mathematical rules. Pardon? Good. So this will cancel this. Therefore, a over 2 pi r will give you r plus h. That means remaining r plus h. And this r plus h is also the same thing as r plus h without the bracket, because it's being multiplied by 1. So we have a over 2 pi r is equals r plus h. We need h, we don't need r. And what is separating these two is plus. So this implies that we can take this r here. It crosses the equality sign, and it's already plus here. So it crosses to become negative. In that case, it becomes a over 2 pi r minus r is equals h. So that's that. We've made h subject formula. Here it is equals a over 2 pi r minus r. So that is the answer. That is it. So look at number 3. Number 3 says we should make Q subject formula. So this is a very simple question. Yes, because mn over a square minus 1 will give you pq over b square. So this is, they are being separated by subtraction. So we bring this here, we take 1 to the other side. So as this one is going this way, from minus it becomes positive. So it comes here as pq over b square. As this one is going the other way, it's becoming negative. So we have this. So from this, or what we do again, this is division, this is division. We can cross multiply. Cross multiply means multiplying this by this and multiplying this by this. So if I'm doing that, okay, let me do it the way it won't confuse you. I can say b square mn is equals a square pq. I've cross multiplied. Now having cross multiplied, and recall that we need q as subject formula, and this is q. The distraction here is a square p, so we need to remove the distractions to make sure we have q left. And what is holding this free is multiplication times. That means we can't bring anyone like that. We have to divide both sides. So to remove multiplication in change of subject formula, you divide. For addition or subtraction, you take 1 to the other side and the sign changes. For division, you cross multiply. That's the general rule. So this will give you a square p. This will give you over a square p. Because what happens to that side should also happen to this side. So this will cancel this. Here, nothing to cancel, so they remain. So therefore, we have b square mn over a square p is equals q. So q is equals b square mn over a square p. That's your answer. We've made q subject formula. So to remove square root, we square both sides. And one of the questions here, to remove square, we look for the square root. In this case, we are having square root. So to remove the square root over this place, we need to square both sides, not square roots, square both sides. So it's the opposite. So that means if we square here and square here, that means we cancel the square root, because square root is raised to the power 1 over 2 times 2 will give you 1. So to remove square root, square. Then to remove square, look for square root. S square is equals 6 over v minus double u over 2. And what is separating here and here is simply subtraction. This implies that I can choose to take anyone to the right or left. So since this one is here, I can just bring this way. From negative, it crosses the equality sign, it becomes positive. So I'll have w over 2 is equals 6 over v. This s squared goes this way. From being positive, it crosses the equality sign to become negative. So this will become minus s squared. So I don't want w over 2. What I want is w. So in that case, I multiply both sides by w. So let's say, sorry, I multiply both sides by 2. 2 times this, then 2 times everything here. This will give you W is equals 2 times 6 over V minus S squared. You can open it up or anyhow you choose to do it. From here, you can just cross multiply. You get the same answer. So that's that. We've made W subject formula. So we need to make R subject formula. This is the same thing as over 1. Cross multiplying, when you have division, there is high chance that you will cross multiply. Cross multiplying, this will give you 3t is equals 1 times everything here. Should give you k r square plus m. So now that you have that, we can bring this m here, it's positive here, we bring it to this side to become negative. So in that case, we have 3t minus m is equals k r square. So we need just r and we don't need k. And what is holding k and r is multiplication. This implies that to remove this k, we have to divide. So dividing here by k and dividing here by k, this cancels this. So 3t minus m over k will be equals r square. And again, we don't need r square. They say make r subject formula, not r square. How do we do that? R is square. So to remove square, we look for square root. So we are not doing inverse. This one, we are removing square root and we squared. So now we are removing square, we are square rooting. So that means square root of here, square root of here. So this square will cancel this square root. So you now have square root of 3t minus m over k is equals r. So r is equals 3t minus m over k. So that is the answer. We've made r subject formula. Okay, let me cross multiply. This is w 1 minus cn is equals v 2 plus cn. In this case, I'll open up the brackets. I'll open them up. So multiply this by this. W times 1 is w minus w times cn is wcn. This will give you equals v times 2 will give you 2v plus v times cn will give you the vcn. Now look at this. We are making n subject formula. Then we have n here, we have n here. So that means the ones that have n in common are like terms. It makes sense, right? So let's bring the ones that have n together and the ones that don't have n to the other side and see how we can get a good result from that. Similarly, if we are making C subject formula, we'll still do the same thing. Bring the ones that have C together and take the other side away. So how do we go about this? This is this one. I can say, okay, let me bring I can choose to take this one here or to bring this one there. So if I'm doing this, this is W. Then this is 2V. It's positive here. So I'll bring it here to come and meet this one. It's already plus here. Since it's crossing, it becomes negative. So this will give you minus 2V equals, this is VCN, it's already here, VCN. And we are bringing this minus WCN to meet it because they are like terms. So this implies that if this goes here, from negative, it becomes positive. So it becomes plus WCN. It's making a lot of sense to you, right? So now, here we have n, we have n. We have to bring n in common, we factorize. Similarly, in this question, let me use one stone to kill two birds. In this side, let me answer what we are asked to do, making n subject formula. This other side, let me make C subject formula, because it can happen. So making n subject formula, I can say W minus 2V is equals n here, I pick one n. That's called factorization. So if I pick n here, bracket, VCN divided by n would give you VC, because n divided by n will cancel n, remaining VC, plus WCN divided by n. They have n in common, so n will cancel n, leaving behind WC. That's how you factorize. Now, if you are making C subject formula, here will be W minus 2V is equals VCN plus WCN. So we bring out C, VCN divided by C. C divided by C will give you 1. We cancel, remaining VC. So remaining VN. VCN divided by C. C cancels C equals VN. So that's how you divide during factorization. So here we have Vn plus Wn. So you notice the similarity in procedure, right? Now food is ready. We have n already. So what we do is divide both sides by Vc plus Wc. This here divided by this, everything here will go. So we now have W minus 2V over Vc plus Wc is equals n. Then here C will be equals W minus 2V over Vn plus Wn. So given that is it. So n is equals W minus 2V over Vc plus Wc. So that's the answer. We've made n subject formula. So now that you've taken a look at it, let me solve the 7th question. But while looking at this answer, I saw something. Here you can also say n is equals W minus 2V over, there is C here, there is C here. You can factorize, bring out one of the C. So bringing out one of the C, you simply have 1 over C V plus W. So the option may be something like this. There is C here, there is C here, bring out one C. Similarly, here is equals W minus 2V, but there's n here, so we can factorize. So if you bring out the n, you have V plus W. So this is the same thing as 1 over n W minus 2V over V plus W. So that's that. So take a look at it while we look at the last question. In this question, we have t square. T and t square. So there's nothing you can do normally, ordinarily, to get 1t, because this is t square. So if I factorize, there will still be t remaining. So, and the question looks familiar to what I know. Yes, it's very familiar. Look at this. 1 over 2, rearranging a t square plus ut minus s equals 0. Yes, because it looks familiar. When you have an equation with power of 2, the highest power is 2, so it has, and they have the same value, square 1, and it's going down, is quadratic equation. Compare this to a s square plus b s plus c equals 0. So this is quadratic equation. Look at a, or let's say a t square plus bt plus c equals 0. You notice that this follows this pattern. A, look at A is the same thing as this. B, you see B is here. C. So we can say that in this case, A is the same thing as 1 over 2A. Comparing these two expressions. Why BT, B is the same thing as U. So B the same thing as U. Then C is minus S. Now that we've established that this is leading us to quadratic equation, we need to solve the quadratic equation. And solving the quadratic equation, we have to bring out the formula. This is the formula. So this is formula for quadratic equation. S equals this. In this case, we are looking for t. So that means we don't need s, we use t. So t is equals minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. bt plus c equals 0. If you're actually comparing, you see they all have t square, or the one that is square. So the values are square. What is remaining here? So that means a is the same thing as 1 over 2a. So that means b and u are the same. Then you see this c and s are the same. So that's how. So now we substitute. Anywhere we see b, we use u because that's what we have in our equation. Anywhere we see c, we use minus s, and anywhere we see a, we use 1 over 2a. So doing that, t is equals minus b. Instead of b now is u, minus u plus or minus b square. That means u square minus 4a. A is 1 over 2a. C is minus s over 2a. 2a is 1 over 2a. So this is basically substitution. We are substituting. So having this, you can break it down to t is equals minus u plus or minus u square minus, okay, plus, minus times minus is plus. So 4 over 2 as. Then here is 2 over 2a. 2 times half, so 2 over 2a. This is the same thing as minus u plus or minus u square plus 4 divided by 2 is 2. So u square plus 2as all over a. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we can say t is equals minus u plus u square plus 2as over a, or t is equals minus u minus, plus or minus the minus aspect now, u square plus 2as over a. So this is the minus component, this is the plus component. So t is this or this. So that's your answer. So to make here easier to read, you can say t is equals, bring this 1 over a out, 1 over a minus u plus or minus u square plus 2as. So it's the same. So I'm just bringing a out to make equation look finer also. So that's that change of subject formula questions. So I'm sure you enjoyed it. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more videos.